Hello and good evening. My name is Paul, and welcome to this meditation for the Nottingham Buddhist Centre. Whether you're joining me here this evening in person, or joining me as we do this live, I should say, or if you are watching this afterwards on our YouTube channel, you're very welcome. We're finding increasingly, actually, that people are doing these meditations after the event, and we have always, or have done for a long time, offered drop-in meditations on Tuesdays, Tuesday lunchtimes, and Tuesday evenings, and also Friday lunchtimes. And we've continued to do that throughout the lockdown period, and have found actually that we're able to reach many more people that may not be able to come to the centre in person. So whether you're joining me now or whether you're joining me later on, and whether you've done meditation before or if it's your first time as well, I want to reassure you that this will be a guided meditation that we're doing this evening. So if it's completely new to you, please don't worry. I will guide you through the different stages as we go along. So we teach two main meditations at the Nottingham Buddhist Centre. We teach one called the Metta Bhavana, which is the cultivation of loving kindness. And we also teach the meditation that we're going to do this evening, which is known as the mindfulness of breathing. And it's one of the most simple meditations in many ways, but like so many simple things, there's always the potential to take it further, to take it to a different level. So whatever your level of experience, practicing the mindfulness of breathing is likely to continue to give you benefits the more that you do it. So there will always further that you can go. And even if you're familiar with the meditation, I think it's often worth realizing that doing a guided meditation like we're doing this evening, it can be quite beneficial to hear how other people present meditations and guide you through meditations. There's always something new to learn. So it's always worth checking in with these drop-in meditations from time to time. There's a few of us that do them, and see if you can get different things from them as well. Before I get started, just a little plug, however, we are starting an introductory course at the centre from the 10th of November, which is a Tuesday, and it's a course over a period of, I think, 6 weeks, known as Radical Wisdom. That's the title for it. So we're just entering a lockdown period. So if you find that you've got some time on your hands and you're interested in exploring meditation and Buddhism further, then there are details of how to engage with the introductory course on our website. So have a look on our website if you're interested in that. I will mention that again at the end, but it's a new introductory course. We're enrolling onto that at the moment, and it starts next week from the 10th of November. So a little bit more about this evening's meditation, what it is. I won't go into too many details this evening about the process of the meditation itself. If you want to know a little bit more about the mindfulness of breathing, we do have on our YouTube channel what we call a meditation toolkit, and that will talk you through in much more detail the meditation itself. But as I said before, don't worry if you've not done it before. I'll give you an overview of the meditation, and then I'll guide you through the different stages as well. So the mindfulness of breathing, not surprisingly, the main focus of what we bring our attention to in this meditation is our breath. And our breath is something pretty special, because if you think about it, the breath is something that most of the time we don't even pay very much attention to. It's just something that happens day and night from the moment we're born until the moment we die. However, we can, of course, bring our awareness to the breath and change the breath. So it has this strange quality that it sits between our unconscious and our conscious mind, and we can alter our breath, but most of the time we are blissfully unaware of what is going on. So what this meditation helps us to do is it helps us to bring our minds into focusing on one particular thing, and that is the quality, the sensations of the breath in the body. And it's been a very difficult week. We're all going back into lockdown for at least 4 weeks, we're aware of. And many of us are going to be in a position, I would imagine, where we've got all sorts of things turning over in our mind. And this kind of situation affects us all in many different ways. And if you're one of those types of people who feel like they're juggling lots of things in their mind, and finding that distressing, perhaps, that is quite common, and a lot of people do experience that, particularly under the circumstances that we find ourselves at the moment. But what the mindfulness of breathing helps us to do is to turn away from the many things that are trying to vie for our attention, the many things that we get distracted by, and really just help to focus our mind onto the one thing, the breath, and in so doing, help us to really regain some of the energy that with a distracted mind is going in all sorts of different directions. So one of the benefits that can be achieved through practicing the mindfulness of breathing is a sense of calm, but also it can help us to feel more energized as well. But people will experience the meditation in many different ways. But one thing I would say about the mindfulness of breathing, which is very critical, really, is that the meditation isn't about changing your breath. What we're trying to do is just bring awareness to our breath. So we know that we can change our breath. If I want to hold my breath, I can do that. If I want to breathe faster or slower, deliberately, I can do that. But that's not what the purpose of this meditation is. The purpose is really to observe our own breath, the experience of our breath in our body. And the more and more that we do that, the more that we bring our focus of attention to that, the deeper we can get into the meditation. And that's where the benefits can really start to be felt. So the meditation, we do it in 4 stages. So we're going to start this evening with a little bit of a calm down, a bit of a sort of what we often term a body scan, which is just an exercise to bring more awareness to where we are in the here and now, before moving on to the meditation itself. And the mindfulness of breathing is in 4 key stages. In the very first stage, what I'll encourage you to do is become aware of your breath, just observing, watching your breath, but you're also going to assist yourself by counting after each out breath. So we're breathing in, breathing out, and count 1. Breathing in, breathing out, counting 2. And you continue that, and the aim is to get to a count of 10 breaths without becoming distracted. So in the first stage, we're counting our breath after the out breath up to 10. In the second stage, and between the different stages, I will ring a bell to indicate that we're moving on. In the second stage, we're still counting the breath, but instead this time we start the count at the point just as the breath is going to enter the body. So you'll breathe out, and just before you breathe in again, it's 1, breathe in, breathe out. There'll be a slight pause, and then we count again. 2, breathe in, breathe out, slight pause. 3. So the first stage, we're counting our breath after the out breath. Second stage, we're counting our breath just before we start to breathe in for a new breath. I'll ring the bell again, and then we're into the third stage. And in the third stage of the meditation, we let the counting drop altogether. And all we're doing is bringing as much of our attention, our awareness to our breath as possible. We're just observing the breath in the body. And we continue that throughout the third stage. You'll hear the bell again, and we enter the fourth and final stage of the meditation. At this point, what we do is we focus the attention of the breath even more to a more specific area, and that is the point at which you notice physically the breath entering the body. So for many people, you'll notice that there'll be a sensation, perhaps a cool sensation of the air as it hits your nostrils, the outside of your nostrils, or maybe your top lip. Some people notice it a little bit more higher up here or even at the back of the throat. But for most people, it's going to be at that point where the breath enters the nostrils. And what we're going to do is just bring more and more and more awareness to that sensation where you notice the breath starting, the breath entering the body. So it sounds quite simple, but one of the things that you will probably notice as you go through the meditation is that you will encounter some distractions. Because if you've had a busy day, if you've got all these thoughts going on in your mind, it can be quite difficult to slip straight into a situation where you're just focusing on one thing. So be aware that distractions do happen, they're quite normal. So perhaps in the first and second stages you might be counting, but all of a sudden you'll find yourself thinking about something else or noticing something else that's happening. If and when that happens, don't worry, it's perfectly normal. It's just what our brains do. So if you notice that your mind has wandered away from the counting or your observation of the sensation of the breath, at the point that you notice it, you beat it. You can come back to the breath straight away. So in a sense, noticing that your mind has wandered is a good thing, because at that point, you know that you can simply remedy that by coming back to the breath once more. Okay. So they are the 4 stages. Distraction can happen at any stage. Don't worry about it. You will often hear it said there's no such thing as a bad meditation. So whatever happens, don't try to judge it too much. Just go along with the experience and be assured that I will be there guiding you throughout the process as well. Okay. So before we get started, just a little bit about your posture, because that's really important in meditation, because you don't want to be in a position where you're too comfortable. Because if you're too comfortable, you close your eyes, you start to focus your breath, and before you know it, you're starting to feel a little bit sleepy, which is not what we want. We want to maintain a sense of alertness during meditation. So we need to be nice and comfortable, but we need to be alert as well. So for many people, if they've not meditated before, I would encourage you to sit on a nice firm chair, something like a dining room chair is a good thing. But perhaps leave a bit of space between your back and the back of the chair, because you don't want to find yourself slumping down. So making good connection with your sitting bones on the chair, and also making good connection of your feet on the floor. I'm on a stool this evening. If you're used to kneeling or being on the stool, that's obviously also fine. But just make sure you've got good contact with the floor, with your legs, or your feet, or your knees, however you are, and also with your sitting bones as well, because that's going to be your anchor. And if you and you need to be in a position that you can sustain for a period of time. Now, again, if you want to know a little bit more about what makes for a good posture in meditation, we do have a video about that as well on our Meditation Toolkit, so feel free to check that out at a later stage. So we'll get started very shortly. But first of all, what we're going to do is, before we go into the meditation proper, we're going to just spend a few moments grounding ourselves, getting into a good frame of mind to start the meditation. So if you want to get into your positions now, where you're going to be for probably about 25 minutes or so, and just notice the connection of the floor with your legs, with your feet. Allow your eyes gently to close. And just allow yourself to have a couple of nice deep breaths. So breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the mouth. Do a couple more here. Allow the last one to be the biggest breath of the day so far. And then just allow your breath to return to normal. Just bring awareness to that connection that I mentioned before, the connection you're making with the floor. Whether it's your feet on the floor, or your knees, whatever connection you're making with the floor, I just want you to be aware of that for a moment. Just notice how it feels making a connection with the floor. Get a sense of the floor supporting you, supporting your body. You may even feel a sensation of almost being drawn down to the earth. Gravity pulling you down, holding you in place. And as well as this connection with the earth, I want you to be aware of the sensation of your sitting bones. However you're sitting, whether that's a chair, whether that's the floor. And with that sensation of your feet and your sitting bones, again, just register that connection, that strength and support coming up from the base of your body. Notice any sensations in your legs as well. Particularly the strong muscles of your thighs. Notice any sensations there at the moment. Any sense of tingling? Are you holding on in any way in these large muscles of the legs? And if you do notice any sensations of tenseness, see if you can allow some of that to be drawn down into the earth. Moving up from your sitting bones, just become aware of your spine, rising up from your sitting bones, from that strong base that you have with the floor, with your chair, supporting a strong but easy spine that's relaxed, but at the same time alert as well. Bring your awareness to the sensations of the muscles in the back. And the muscles in the shoulders and at the back of the neck. Just notice if you experience any tension here. Shoulders are a common area where we hold tension. Notice if your shoulders are being held up towards your ears, and if they are, allow that tension to be drawn down towards the earth. as your shoulders naturally relax. Be aware of your head being supported at the top of your spine. Notice any sensations in the muscles at the back of the neck, in the scalp. Are you perhaps holding some tension here through a sense of holding on? If so, just gently allow that to ease. Moving forward slightly, notice any tension in your forehead. Simply by bringing awareness to any areas of tension, we can help to allow that tension to ease away. Notice any other sensations in the muscles, skin of your face. Notice how your eyes are feeling as well. Allow your eyes to gently be relaxed behind closed lids. Now bring your focus to the chest. Notice the gentle movement, the rise and fall of each breath as it enters and leaves the body. Also notice how at the same time the belly also responds to the breath as it enters and leaves the body. Try to bring more awareness to this gentle movement in and out, in time with your breath. Stay with the awareness of the sensation of the breath as we move into the practice of the mindfulness of breathing. Bring awareness to the breath as it enters and leaves the body in its own time, at its own pace. And after each out breath, in your mind, gently count 1. For the next out breath, count 2. after the next out breath, count 3. Keep following the breath, sensation of the breath, the rhythm of the breath, gently counting after each out breath. Don't alter the breath. Don't try to change the breath in any way. But simply observe the sensations of the breath in your body and mark each out breath with a count. Just watching your breath, observing your breath, and gently counting the breath just after it's left your body. And if you count to 10, start over, counting after the out breath, beginning again at 1. If your mind starts to wander, don't worry. If that happens, just return once again to the sensation of your breath. Wherever your mind wanders, you can always return to the breath. Continue to follow the breath. Notice the breath throughout your body, but counting after each out breath. If you notice any discomfort, just make sure that you're not trying to control the breath in any way. Just allow your breath, your body, to breathe in whatever way it chooses, and you simply observe that breath. staying with the breath a little bit longer, counting after each out breath. Without changing the breath in any way. In the second stage of the practice, we're now going to count the breath at the point just before the breath enters the body. So we count, breathe in, breathe out. Count 2, breathe in, breathe out. Continue counting and breathing until you reach 10 breaths. At which point you start the count all over again at 1. You may notice as you count a short pause just between an out breath and the next in breath. You might like to bring your awareness to this pause between breaths, the pause that leads to a count and the start of a new breath. However you are observing your breath, just make sure you are following the pace, the rhythm, the sensations of your own breath in your own body. Stay with the count before each in-breath, just a while longer. And if the mind wanders elsewhere, at the point where you notice you are no longer focusing on the breath, gently bring your awareness back to those sensations of your breath in your body. And the gentle count before each in-breath. Moving now into the third stage of the meditation. Just allow the counting to fall away. And simply be aware of the sensation of the breath in your body. Observe it. Notice how it feels. Perhaps be aware of how you can experience your breath in many different ways. Perhaps you may choose to notice the sensations of the breath in your belly. How does that feel? Or maybe you observe the rise and fall of your breath in your chest. Or the sensation of the breath at the back of your throat. However you observe your breath, just try to bring as much of your awareness to those sensations as you possibly can. If distracting thoughts come along, allow them to drift by like clouds in the sky. Staying with the sensation of your breath. All the time being alert to the sensations of your breath. Noticing things you perhaps didn't notice at first. Sensations. experience of the breath in your body. Bring as much of your focus and attention to your breath as you possibly can. Gentle awareness. In the final stage of the meditation, become aware of the point in your body where you notice the breath first enter the body. Where do you notice the sensations of the breath first of all? Take a moment. This could be your nostrils, your top lip, or maybe a point inside the nose where you first experience the sensation of the breath entering the body. Be curious about this sensation. What does it feel like? Is it pleasant or unpleasant? Warm or cold? What quality does the sensation have? As you become more aware of the sensations of the breath entering, you may notice the sensations change with time. Try to bring as much of your awareness to this sensation. What is happening now in your experience? Observe it. Continue to notice the sensations of the breath at the point where the breath enters the body. Do you perhaps notice the sensations more on one side than the other? Is this changing? Once again, don't control the breath. just observe the sensations as your breath does what it needs to do naturally. Stay here for just a few more moments, observing our breath. As we bring the meditation to a close, just once again bring awareness to your body and space, connection with the floor, spine, your shoulders, your head, your chest, your belly, your arms resting. Just notice for a moment before you open your eyes how your body feels now. Be aware of any gentle, subtle changes that may have occurred. Be aware of feelings and sensations in your hands and feet. Maybe introduce a bit of gentle movement, just to reconnect yourself fully with your body as you gently open your eyes. So, thank you for participating in this drop-in meditation. I hope you found that useful. And just a reminder that these meditations are a constant thing on Tuesdays and Fridays, Tuesdays and Friday lunchtimes, and Tuesday evening as well. And we go on a sort of rotating basis with the two main meditations that we teach at Nottingham Buddhist Centre. So a couple of things before we wind up. A reminder of the introductory course that will be starting on November the 10th. If you're interested in learning more about meditation and Buddhism, this could be the course for you. It's called Radical Wisdom, and you can find out more information about that from our website, the Nottingham Buddhist Centre website, and you can sign up if you're interested as well. You will also see on the website there, and also in the YouTube link associated with this video, something that you may have seen before if you've done meditations with us previously, and that is a donate button. Now, our Buddhist Centre works on a system of generosity, so to continue the work that we do, to share meditation, to share Buddhism classes, we rely on your donations quite simply. Now, what we offer people is for everybody who needs it. And if you are in a position where you can't donate, that's absolutely fine. But if you are able to share a little bit of money to help us out, to help out the work of the centre, we would be very, very grateful for that. It just helps to ensure that we can continue doing these things, continue and offering them for more and more people. So if you are able to, as I say, there is a link in the YouTube channel attached to this video. There is also a donate button on the front page of the Nottingham Buddhist Centre website. So thank you once again for joining us, and I hope to see you on here again soon. Nice to see you here, Shobit. That's our friend from India who's been joining us. But I hope to see you on it here again soon, and I wish you all well during this continuing lockdown period and the difficulties that can bring. But I hope you found this session helpful. Take care.